So they say best fighting game ever for the best SNK fighting game ever. City of Wolves hands-on impression. Although the Wild Wolf has been dormant 25 years now, Fatal Fury is finally coming back and doing so in a really big way. I was able to spend over 2 hours going on hands-on demo for Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, thanks to SNK, and I walked away feeling almost all my expectations were exceeded. Wow. Upon first seeing the game in motion, I was surprised on how good it looked in terms of the fidelity and the art style. Similarly, Marvel's Capcom 3 were immediately apparent in the best ways, with all the 90s comic book aesthetic using to attach itself. Deep shadows, it does look like Marvel 3. Half tones make Fatal Fury really stand out. Also serve as a nice evolution over the SNK we did with Samurai Showdown, which is what I said it looked like Samurai Showdown. I'd say the new trailers didn't do City of Wolves full justice with its visual effects. There is immediately a ton of different effects and popping upon the screen in short order, but it never really felt overwhelming or like it lacked clarity when it mattered. Each mechanic is very distinct in color, usage, and what type of visual it employs. Gameplay didn't just feel like a retooling of King of the Fighters 15, but instead a true sequel to Garou Mark of Wolves. Wow. In terms of feel, as well as bringing back almost every notable mechanic from the 1999 classic, and then added 10 layers on top of that while making the gameplay more smooth. Let's discuss more about what makes Fatal Fury tick in 2024. Obviously, the heart of City of the Wolves is built around the all-new rev system, which introduces both offense and defensive mechanics to make matches more interesting and exciting more than ever than the series has been. As you can briefly in the trailer see, each character has a rev meter and bottom of the screen that works similar to Street Fighter 6's drive gauge, except in reverse. The rev meter begins around 0 and progressively fills with each successful rev action performed or when using regular blocks on defense. It continuously goes down as no actions are being performed, and do so even faster when hitting the opponent or even walking, dashing towards them, also like Street Fighter 6. Managing push and pull of the offensive system is going to be key to success in this game and its extremely high skill ceiling. Rev Arts bring EX special moves to Fatal Fury, which are pretty much how do you expect them to work, but not that's not the exciting part. Rev Excel is real game changer here, considering the mechanic that lets you chain together multiple Rev Arts into a string to produce some really flashy combos and setups that were never possible before. You can also say Rock's EX Hard Edge into EX Rising Tackle into EX Shippuden, because yes, he has Geese's air fireballs now. Oh boy. Rock's a man now. And each cancel leaves behind a cool after image so you can tell what taking place throughout the getting totally lost. Each rev art, however, uses 25% of your rev meter, so multiple excels get very costly very quickly. Used correctly, rev arts excels and extend combos like never before in Fatal Fury, and can confirm into something into on the ground into supers. Wow. Called Ignition and Redline gears for extra big damage. So this is going to be like the Marvel of Fatal Fury, or the Marvel of KOF. The only potential knock against the system had to be performing Rev XLs felt highly committal and couldn't just hit them confirm on site to keep the combo going. For the most specials I encountered, I felt like you had to input the Rev art almost immediately after the first. So XLs aren't fully free flow like you'd find in the Roman cancels like in Guilty Gear. Okay. Some characters, specifically Tizak, also have some more stringent rules around them as to what they will and won't work for XL cancels, which does make sense since they are a grappler. These aren't necessarily bad things depending on your perspective on design choice, but I do kind of hope they'll make cancel windows a bit more relaxed for the full release. Overall, I just kept trying to think of more and more ways to excel in cool ways. I see what you did there. And most of the time it worked, which just made me want to play even more. Rev Guard makes defense fun. Besides Rev Excel, Rev Guard was actually something most fun I had playing the game. And it's really surprised me too. By holding down R1 on the standard PlayStation controller, your character pulls a bubble shield in front of them and can hold it down. This works very similar to Faultless Defense in Guilty Gear, where the block attacks push the opponent back further, regardless of guarding to help out the opponent. Yeah, it's super helpful in Guilty Gear because sometimes you got to back them off you because the offense is just too much. Holding the shield down successfully, blocking attacks, however, does build rev meter somewhat quickly. Oh, so holding it down builds rev meter. Okay. So you do have to be careful not to rely on it all the time. The real fun came from the movement options you can get out of rev guard to help defense, offense, and spacing all together. Pressing forward while holding R1 lets you, wait, you can hold R1 and move? Pressing forward while holding down R1 lets you instantly cancel the shield into backdash. Back makes you dash, and up plus forward, or back makes you hop. Huh. So there's a hop built into it. That's pretty cool. Feels really strong for characters like Utori especially. There's more ways of defense in City of Wolves too. On top of that, we get into a bit. Garo even goes further and beyond. Those familiar with Fatal Fury and Mark of the Woods especially will also find a bunch of other familiar mechanics and systems here to revamp for do more. The TOP mode is now SPG, Selective Potential Gear, and works similarly to a temporary boost that can be selected from the beginning, middle, or end of your life bar. Moreover, SPG also gives you access to Rev Blow, which is attack by pressing a heavy punch and kick together, which performs an armored attack on the ground in air with a green glow, like Terry's aerial crack shoot, which you could also do in KOF 15. So they're basically like porting over. For other mechanics, breaking certain specials is back to let you cancel out of the startup and move like Rising Tackle. So you can start a special and then go into like a super. You can start a super and go into a special, or a special into a special. Less punishable, but more important, opens the door for bigger combos. You can see the Just Defend bubble right here. Feints are back too. That was really big in Mark of Wolves. Out of the opponent with special never comes up to the mind gameplay, and apparently also be used to cancel out normals for different combo routes. You can use feints to cancel out of normals. That's pretty OP. On the defense, Just Defense is back. When perfectly blocking just before attack connects, your guard goes into cancel to interrupt your defense, counter straight into specials, supers, and more. You can count on block. You can't block in the air, but there are air Just Defense for additional layer of defense. So you can block in the air if you have the right meter. There's also something called Hyper Defense by pressing forward and down while blocking multiple attacks. Okay, forward and down, okay. I didn't get to test it exactly how it works, but it's another defense tool too. And then there's low and high dodge attacks to round out the returning mechanics for Garo. This means there's multiple lanes in which the early Fatal Fury games threw, but all the new stuff is more than makes up for that. You don't want to overheat, like Street Fighter 6 Burnout State, going over 100 rev meter, put your character in an overheated phase where you glow red. Okay, so it's overheat, but in the opposite way. That's pretty crazy. So you have to spin your bar to not go over your bar. It's making you really aggressive. What's more important, however, is that while overheating, you can't perform rev actions at all until meter reaches 100. So you have to wait till your meter goes way back to 100. Okay, I see, to 0. Again, you can be mitigated by going on the offense, like mentioned above. This is also where guard meter comes into play, since you can also be guard broken while overheating. This seems to be like you can only take 5 to 7 hits in quick succession before you're opened up. We're not sure of any of the downsides at the moment, but it's clear that you want to be careful not to put yourself into, I guess we'll call it overheating mode. Characters advance. I got to try out all 5 characters shown in new trailers between Terry Rock, Hartsu, Tizak, and newcomer Picha. She wasn't newcomer, Fricha. Most of them, my time was spent grinding matches with Ataru against SNK Rep. Each character feels like a fun evolution or what we perceive saw in Garu with the basically all of their old moves plus new options like Rock's Air Fireball and Rage Run options. Ataru felt like a fast combo monster who could attack from anywhere with mid, close range, on the ground, and with the new Air Rev XL working well for her combos and lived up to my expectations of wanting her back in the game, and then some. T-Zoc is hard to say, much because I'm not a big on grapplers, but the CPU was kicking my butt hard. Grapplers usually do that on this computer at the start of the gameplay session, and I got multiple advancing moves to help me, including a command grab. Terry hits like a truck, like he should, with his XP power dunk starting out as a diagonal rising tackle, which is cool to see and use. Preacher was the most interesting of the course. As a newcomer and apprentice to Joe, she is the apprentice to Joe. She's got multiple attacks with follow-ups options to make her combos longer, as well as ability to kick tornadoes in similar fashion to Lucia's Fireball in Street Fighter V. Okay. It's difficult to determine how good she was in the demo, but it seems she does have quite a bit of potential, even if it feels like she may need to get some more than others on the present roster. Some more help. Modern and smart, Fatal Fury is including essential own to take Street Fighter 6 modern controls. Type works with familiar fashion, and they're currently calling it Smart Style. It's completely separate from the arcade style as a standard and is selected before picking a character, just like everybody else. And then there are no auto combos in arcade style. I like it a lot. Smart Style, you've got a bunch of buttons, one for kick, special, and combos as Rev Guard, throw, Rev Blow, dodge, attack, and shoulder buttons. Specials are performed with directional plus triangle on PS5, although you can still mainly perform them in the motions. Also, smart mode, you can do regular motions or just the special buttons. Pressing circle gives an auto combo that's flashy but seems pretty one note right now. It also uses up most of the resources and you have available. So like KO 15, 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. It's only messed around with Smart Style for a few matches. I felt serviceable and what is it right now, but I hope they can expand on more in the future. Final thoughts. Matches of Fatal Fury City of Wolves felt fast but not fanatic. It left me constantly wanting and thinking about more. I still am. There's a good sense of push and pull there. The game is far with just mainly defensive options as were offensive options. So that's a good balance. And even if you aren't using them all, you can still have exhilarating games. After my extended play session, I felt like I was barely scratching the surface of what's possible, not even knowing what is possible to perform in the game. SNK really seems to be trying to step their game up even higher to keep pace with the competition, and in some regards, potentially even better with the mechanics and the flow together. The skill ceiling feels like it could be higher and ever before, thanks to the rev system returning, revamped Garu system, but even at the ground level, it feels like a good and enough plenty to do. My only real complaint was that the background stages were not nearly as detailed and fleshed out. The demo characters selected screen left somewhat to be desired. That's all stuff that can be polished and adjusted in the long run. It's up to release. I walked away thinking City of Wolves could easily become my favorite SNK game and arguably the best they've ever done if it keeps on the trajectory. So stay tuned for more coverage with SNK and the return of Fatal Fury.